Raw 11/24/25, your amplified review and the go-home show to the Survivor Series. We'll be going over everything that happened in tonight's show, and BC will be entertaining you like nobody else can in this industry. But before we get to that, a shout out, much love over to Penta. Unfortunately, it looks like Penta was indeed injured during his match with Solo Sikoa tonight, a John Cena tournament match. And it was only roughly about a minute into the match. We were actually in commercial. Most of the Netflix audience was in commercial. So that's what made it more bizarre. We come back, we see a split second of Penta, and we cut right to Solo in the ring, who's being declared the winner. Commentary is telling us that Penta's injured, but they're not showing any footage. They did not show a replay. So thankfully, BC was able to piece this together for you guys. And the spot looks to be on the outside. Penta leaping off the barricade for a hurricanrana. And it looks like Penta just drove that left arm, the left shoulder, into the outside mat. It honestly looked like he got dropped on his dome piece at first. But you see it a couple, 2-3 times, and it does look like that left arm just got drove in, maybe the shoulder. And it didn't look like concussion protocol was being performed, or at least loosely if it was. All the focus looked to be on the arm. And on his way back, Penta was slamming his right arm into the barricade in frustration, but his left arm was dangling. So that's what makes BC believe that it's not a head injury, but indeed the left arm. The event just got over about 6 or 7 minutes ago. So details will be fluent over the next 24 hours, and BC will keep you guys updated. But as the show just went off the air, the mic just went live, and we're cutting this review. That's all the info I have for you guys, man. Penta could be, if this is severe, he could be out for an extended amount of time. Clearly will miss WrestleMania if a surgery is needed. For them to stop this match, because Penta, you know, would finish. And Hunter Helmsley would give Penta a little bit more rope than the average, quote, superstar. So that's what makes BC believe that this might not be good at all. We'll keep you updated, man. Much love over to Penta. Stay strong. But as far as this show, Raw 11/24/25, the go-home show to the Survivor Series, this show in totality, minus one segment, right? Because one segment had BC absolutely rolling for like 12 minutes. I could not stop laughing. It was so well done. I love the thought behind it. It was, whoever thought of it should get all the flowers. And to show you how fair I am, because Helmsley approved it, I'll take a couple of those flowers back. Whoever thought of it can keep the rest. I'll take a couple and we'll chuck them at Helmsley for approving this segment, because it was so well done. And again, I haven't laughed like that since, well, I'll tell you. I'll give you the exact last time I laughed like that when we talk about this segment. If you saw the show, you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't, grab your beverages, sit back, max, and relax while BC drops the facts. But aside from that one segment, you know what I'm going to say about this show. It would be leaning more toward bad. If I have to pick between a good show and a bad show, no. I'm not lowering my bar. I refuse. I say this like a broken record, it seems, every single amped up show. The day Helmsley told all of us we're not real fans and we can fuck off was the day that bar got solidified, cemented way up high. And it ain't never coming down. Helmsley will have to raise his bar because we're not lowering ours. My criteria is simple if you want me to say a Raw is a good show. Did we get captivating stories, intriguing cliffhangers, and unique scenarios playing out? All three of those questions are rhetorical. Of course we didn't. We did not get captivating stories tonight. We didn't get intriguing cliffhangers tonight, and we didn't get unique scenarios that played out. What we got, if you want to be honest about it, what we got was brawls and pops. And you know that's the truth. BC's the only one that's gonna say it. Everybody else is going to try to pick out any positives, to try to make this sound like it was so good. It was pops and brawls, right? They spread out a Cody pop and a CM Punk pop and a Roman pop and a Brock Lesnar pop. Am I getting all the part-timers here? John Cena's theme even got a pop. That's right, his music played and that place was rocking. All the ladies were out there at once. AJ Lee's out there. You got Io. You got their Rhea. Surprisingly, that was one of the quietest parts of the night. We'll get to it. But you had all your pops, and you had, of course, your brawls. Why have an intriguing development for WarGames and all these teams? No, we're just going to send them out there, and they're going to bicker within themselves, and then they're going to brawl. It's not a storyline. It's definitely not a captivating storyline. It's not intriguing. There's no cliffhangers that make you go, I have to see the next show. But if you didn't catch this show and you saved yourself the 2.5 hours of misery and you're trusting BC to be your most reliable source for insight, let's talk about it. Let's break it down segment by segment in totality. And you will see firsthand how bad this is. And how no thought gets put into it. Minus tonight, one segment. That actually caught us by surprise. One segment was actually well done. But to produce a good television show, you can't have 5 minutes of good mixed in with 2 hours and 25 minutes of garbage. So let's go over it. The first half an hour of this Monday night, and I'm not even joking, the first half an hour, Q1, Q2. This is what happened. Roman Reigns comes to the ring. All he says is, acknowledge me. That's literally all he said. Cody Rhodes then comes out. Cody says, welcome to my team, goes to shake Roman's hand. CM Punk comes out. I don't even know what he was attempting to say. CM Punk was trying to go back and forth with Roman and Punk. I mean, you talk about a time filler. Nonsensical, no use, no reason for this. This is so bad. I guess they were trying to go for like conflict between the three, and it just wasn't working, man. Like at all. It was bad. You guys can, and when I say that these reviews are the most honest you're gonna get in the community, you can match it. You can sync it up with the audience live. I mean, you listen to that crowd, you watch them, they were not understanding any of this because it wasn't landing. They just wanted to sing Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. And they did that, by the way. I think it's time for a new chant. When you start singing everybody's name that's actually in the ring, perhaps you have worn it out, you've ran it into the ground. I thought for a second they would start singing CM Punk. But the crowd was lost. CM Punk is trying his best to create conflict between all three. It just didn't land. So then Roman just shouts out, I hate the Vision more than I hate you two. Alrighty then. Thanks for sharing. Sharing is caring. That was so odd. He goes to walk away, but then he stops and Roman says, well, as long as we're being honest, that title would look really good around my shoulder. And then he walks off. CM Punk asks him, who are you talking to? Roman just smiles and says, that's for you to figure out. And then he walks away. Oh, Maron. This took a half of an hour. Now do you guys see what I am saying, man? You are a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate company, the #1 pro wrestling conglomerate, arguably in the world. And that is the best that you have. Legit, no plan. They thought if we put Punk, Cody, and Roman in the middle of the ring, the crowd will be eating in the palm of their hand. Those watching on Netflix, they'll feel the buzz at home. Well, it backfired. The crowd was lost. Everybody was feeling the same thing. It was bizarre. And when Roman walked off, the crowd was silent. Punk and Cody are embarrassed by the entire segment. You can just look at Punk, keep looking at Cody. Cody's trying to keep a straight face just looking at Roman. Punk keeps looking at Cody like, wow, this went off the rails. Like, I knew this was bad when we were going over it backstage, but it's even worse now. Like, that's the look on Punk's face. Like, how is this what we're doing? Even Wade Barrett, true story, man. Go back and check it out yourself. Wade Barrett says, and I quote, "That was a disaster of a talk." That was a disaster of a talk, he says. Hey, Wade, the whole quote universe agrees with you, man. That was a disaster of a talk. And again, that took a half an hour. And this is where I guess BC's supposed to talk about all the positives and how amazing this show is. No thanks. I'd rather be honest. We then go into a Cena tournament matchup. Gunther versus Mello. Gunther pins Mello via Gunther bomb. It took 2 Gunther bombs, just like Javon Evans. They had Mello kick out of a Gunther bomb. And Mello was locked into the choke and would not submit too in this matchup. So Gunther has it locked in for a while. I mean, you got to remember, Gunther tapped out in 8 seconds to Jey Uso's choke. And Jey Uso hasn't seen a gym since 1994. I'm pretty sure anyway. It's word around the campfire. But Pat McAfee gets locked in Gunther's choke, and he's taking a nap. Javon Evans gets locked into it, and he's like, I can hang out for a few minutes. Mello is like, nah, I ain't tapping out to this, man. This is weak. And again, Mello actually kicked out of a Gunther bomb just like Javon Evans did last week. So finally, he delivers a second Gunther bomb, and then Mello stays down for a few seconds. 1, 2, 3, at least for 3. Gunther picks up the W. And don't give me the BC. They tried to make Mello look strong in defeat, not by making Gunther look weak in victory. You couldn't make him submit. It took 2 Gunther bombs, and Gunther was sweating like he just ran the New York City Marathon. How can this version of Gunther possibly beat John Cena? That's the problem. This type of booking of Gunther the whole year of 2025 has been atrocious. Perhaps the only one booked worse would be John Cena, ironically. So you might as well throw them both together in this match, call it a Hunter Hearst Helmsley Classic, and let's see who gets booked worse. And by the way, they're setting up now, I guess you could say, Uso Gunther Part 16, right? Because with Helmsley in charge, I don't see LA Knight going over Jey Uso, face versus face, by the way. And how many times has LA Knight had to play second fiddle to Jey Uso? Don't answer that. Save your count for next week because, or what is it, Friday is it? Because it looks like LA Knight will be taking another backseat to Jason Uso, and then Yeaterman Gunther Part 16. Could you imagine if Helmsley had Uso face Cena? If Cena's passing of the torch was to just give it to Yeaterman. Oh, I don't even want to think of that because it's Helmsley, and anything is always on the table. That's right, man. Hour 2. BC, you must have missed something in the first hour, right? No! A lot of commercials. Some filler backstage segments, but nothing worthy enough to talk about. I mean, Paul Heyman told Logan Paul he and Drew will be taking on the Usos in the main event for the WarGames advantage. No, that's not worth talking about. I mean, nothing. That was your first hour. Roman, Cody, and CM Punk with an awkward 30 minutes of nothingness. And then Gunther pinning Mello. But again, I'm supposed to say how great this show is, man. Hour 2. This was well done. This, for the first time in the longest of times, there was a good segment on Monday Night Raw. Could not believe it. And it was simplistic. It was Dominic Mysterio, man. The dirtiest of all the Doms is in the ring cutting a promo. And he says, and I quote, John Cena wouldn't come to this dump of a city. Cena's music hits. Now, BC knew for a fact Cena was not there, but OKC didn't get the memo, and they bought it hook, line, and sinker, man. They were popping hardcore. They couldn't wait to see Cena. Tessa Torres screaming, it's Cena, it's Cena. Barrett is screaming, I can't believe it, I can't believe it. No, it was not big John Cena. They got a little person John Cena. Bro, a little person. A mini John Cena comes out, and bro, no bullshit, he had his own little stew. He had his own little stew. He had his own stew. That is awesome. Where's the chant when you need it? Right there, that whole crowd. That's when you erupt in a "This is awesome" chant, because that was amazing. His own little stew. And then they showed the big Stu who was recording them. So you had Big Stu showing, so you were showing Big Stu taping Little Stu who was taping Mini Cena. I could not stop laughing. I probably haven't laughed. I joke that I haven't laughed that hard since Mini Bret Hart. But in all honesty, it was probably Titus World Slide. It was like the greatest Royal Rumble ever. Titus O'Neil, it was in Saudi Arabia actually, and he's hightailing it, man, as fast as a Titus can go. And he couldn't stop. He couldn't stop. So he just slid, and I thought he was going clear under the ring and he was going to pop out the other side. Titus couldn't stop. He slips. He slides. Corey Graves couldn't stop laughing for 13 minutes. BC couldn't stop laughing the rest of the night. Guys, this was truly one of those scenarios. I could not stop laughing. I mean, he was getting his ass whooped eventually by Dominic Mysterio. And I was no-selling it because I was still laughing. So I felt bad for the dude. I mean, he was getting frog splashes. He might have gotten a 5-knuckle shuffle from Mysterio. But I just could not stop cracking up, man. I think what put it over the edge was the stew. I could not believe they had a little stew. Like, that's when you're really getting into it. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a Cena idea, not a writer. But to show you I'm fair, because I know Helmsley has to approve this, the fact that he did, I'll throw him some flowers as well. This was so well done. This is what I mean, man. When you produce a bunch of segments like this on one show, you get a good television show. Unfortunately, that's the only really fun, good thing I can talk about. But it was fun. It was entertaining. This is a segment that elevates Dominic Mysterio. Guys, for months and months, I could not care about Dominic Mysterio. I couldn't care less. He walks around backstage chewing gum in his clubhouse with some stupid filler backstage segments. That's all he does. Once in a while, he has a match, and I'm supposed to sing along with everybody. Dirty, dirty, dumb. I don't even care. I don't care about him, his mommy, his nuggets. But a segment like this, that's when I get invested into a character. That's when I can care about what they're doing. Do something different, unique. So I had to take a moment to praise that segment for sure, man. And I will say this, man. As far as little Cena, this is the one time that it actually reigns true for a Cena. For little Cena, he was so tiny, I almost couldn't see him. Ah, come on! That was good! I was saving that one. I wanted to give you guys that one in the cold open. I made you wait for it. He was so tiny I couldn't see him. Rey Mysterio defeats J.D. McDud. This was just a match. A good opportunity to switch to the 49er Panther Monday Night Football game. Then Women's War Games teams, middle of the ring. They brawl. What? No. Helmsley had his wrestlers brawl? That's a first, huh? Said nobody ever. Yes, this was just a brawl. I will say the promos beforehand were good. Becky held down the mic for the heels and AJ rocked the mic for the faces. And they both, I don't mind these promos at all, man. And seeing AJ Lee back in that ring is just chef's kiss. She's just so good. She's believable. It's just one of those wrestlers, man, even if you're giving her nothing, like just really bad creative, AJ Lee's somebody that's going to go out there and probably make it good. And AJ Lee just puts $110 into everything she does. But still, at the end of the day, it's another brawl, so we can't get aside from that fact, right? Much love to AJ, much love to EO, man. Much love to Alexa. But at the end of the day, this is just they're all staring at each other and they all just start brawling. Again, how many times are we going to see these 10 ladies brawl and then brawl and then brawl? And this is all supposed to make us spend money to watch them brawl, right? Go to war now. Well, I thought they've been going to war. And because it wasn't even done correctly, you can't even fully get invested. It's like, AJ's cutting this promo, and she's talking basically about how Becky's such a thorn in her side, so she had to go to War Games, right? This was the only outcome. But if you guys remember, this was so poorly done. AJ was in the match first. Rhea pulls her aside, and then they were going to introduce AJ on SmackDown. And then Becky comes out of nowhere, takes out AJ, shakes the hands of Asuka. So Lee was in. If you did this correctly, Becky would have been in there first, and AJ has to get her hands on her. So AJ joins the faces. That's common sense. You can't talk logic and common sense with this company. They'll get a headache. Cena tournament matchup. Penta versus Solo Sikoa. Again, unfortunately, about 30 seconds, maybe a minute into this match. Most of the audience was in commercial break, but Penta was injured. After I pieced it together, it looks like it was a spot on the outside. Penta goes for a Hurricanrana and lands on his left shoulder, it looks like. It doesn't look like it was a concussion. Didn't look like concussion protocol was being utilized. And when he was walking back, he was slamming his right arm into the barricade in frustration while his left arm was dangling. And that's where it looks like he landed on, too. So it looks like a legit injury. It looks like it could be severe. So we know it was severe enough that he couldn't compete afterwards. So that's bad enough. But if it's something that requires surgery this close to Mania, he could be missing what was going to be his first Mania. Sucks all around, man. For Penta. He was in flux. Because Helmsley is just not a creative dude, Penta was only going to go so far. They give him some cool music. They upped his pyro. They're really trying to make his entrance and his feel all cool. But then, when the bells and whistles are gone, all you're left with is your booking. And that's where he fails, right? When the bells and whistles are done, nobody can get invested in what he's doing. He can put on good matches, of course. Bangers, 5 stars, 26 stars. That's most wrestlers can today. But what are we caring about? Penta's been there for many months now. I can't say I've cared about one thing he's actually done. And unfortunately, if he's out for some amount of time. When he comes back, I don't see it improving, right? Dragunov was out for a year. He comes back, Helmsley throws a title on him, and he honestly thought that was going to be the Band-Aid to fix the fracture, because Helmsley booked Dragunov horribly before he got injured. So when he comes back, throw a title on him, that's the Band-Aid. And every week, go out there and put on bangers. Put on really good matches. That's not storylines, man, so nobody can get behind Dragunov that way. We can all say he's a good wrestler, of course. But it's like Sami Zayn, man. Sami Zayn went out there for months trying to do this damn open challenge. It didn't help Sami Zayn at all. Nobody feels any differently than we first did. He's still Home Depot's Employee of the Month. Sam Zayn is a mid-carder. The open challenge didn't help any of that. So we'll see for Penta. We wish him all the best. But legit injured, and Solo now wins this match, and now Solo's got to take on Gunther. Heel versus heel. I'm sure Helmsley has no problem with that, but guess what? There is a problem. The fact that neither one of these dudes can lose this. Gunther's going on to face Cena anyway. So how are you going to make Solo lose this? You can't have the Wyatts interfere because it has to be kind of a legit winner-loser. Right? It's a tournament. It's got to be some honor in it. I don't know. We'll see. Max Dupree is backstage. Adam Pearce is still letting her ride around with training wheels. Pom-poms in her hand. Right? Adam Pearce will give her all the time in the world before her next matchup. Guys, no lie. This was a backstage segment where Max Dupree is still going on and on about how she's going to keep training and keep trying to get better. That's the whole thing. And the crowd is too stupid to realize that they're being just taken for fools. Max's character now is just, I'm not really a wrestler. I'm not really that good, but I have a title somehow, and I'm just going to try to keep getting better. And Adam Pearce is like, cool, come back whenever you want. Doesn't matter. AJ Styles and How to Train Your Dragon Ball Z Lee won titles, and I haven't seen him since. Doesn't matter. I told them to come next week to have a match with New Day. If they show up, they do. If they don't, oh well. So, Max, you don't ever have to defend that. Adam Pearce is just happy-go-lucky. Yeah, you're getting better. Yay. Roxy's going up to her. Ivy Nile, everybody's like, I want that title from you. So, you know what they had Maxine do? They had her call Natty. So you see that Natty's going to come next week, and they're going to start having tag matches, guys. Didn't I tell you this was going to happen? Now they're going to hide all of Max's insufficiencies. The fact that she lacks talent, they're going to have Natty pick up the slack. They're going to have tag matches now while Max Dupree is your champion. Then why put the singles title on her if all she can do is have tag matches? And when she has to have a singles match, she has to be heavily rehearsed for 3 weeks at a time. How are you not angry at this, man? This is just bogus. She gets special treatment and we're still trying to find out why. What about Max Dupree? Why does everybody else have to look like a fool? People like Becky Lynch has to lose 3 times and look like an idiot. Dumb down her skills and look like a clown so that Max looks good. Why does Max get to train and rehearse weeks during each match? Nobody else gets to rehearse or train like that. She gets to have training wheels. Nobody else on the roster gets to. And we don't know why. If she just wants to be a pro wrestler, cool. Go down to the Performance Center, not even on NXT. She doesn't even belong there, man. The women down in NXT would run circles around her, and they don't deserve to have to lower their skills on live TV just because she doesn't have any. So no, go to the Performance Center, bust your ass, we'll revisit this in a year, and if you're ready for NXT matches, cool. But no, she's on the main roster, wasting everybody's time, diminishing the skills of the actual wrestlers, making them look like idiots, hoisting their titles, and I guess we're all just supposed to accept it. Nobody knows why. What is so important that Max Dupree has to be on the main roster doing this bizarre, weird shit? Because no, you're going to have your 18 to 49 demo that's not going to believe any of this. Max Dupree just beats Becky Lynch, and now all of a sudden she's talking like, I'm going to get a little better. I'm going to beat everybody on the roster. I'll beat Ivy Nile. I'll beat Roxy. Make it make sense, man. Make it make sense. This company can't do that. So now here comes Natty, and get ready for a bunch of Natty Maxine matches. Yeah! You'll see all of Maxine's specialties. Her ankle lock, her spin kick. And then the main event. This was the Usos versus Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre winner's advantage match for WarGames. You know it's going to be the heels because that's the only thing that makes sense. You're in the double cage. The face is getting double teamed. And here comes face number 2 to save the day. So it is what it is. Indeed, Logan Paul would roll up mid-gym in this match. A roll-up. 1, 2, 3. The heels win. And after the match, you guys are ready for this? Here comes Brock Lesnar for the pop. And everybody, you ready? What do they do? Did you get a really good storyline? Did you get a unique scenario? Did you get an epic cliffhanger? No, but I'll tell you what you did get. You got a brawl. You got a Helmsley brawl. They just stare at each other. You can't make it up, man. They stare at each other and they brawl. It's... Guys, how do I... Especially for like younger listeners, like real young, man. Maybe you don't even remember this. You never saw this. But there was a time where you saved brawls when you really wanted to sell a feud. So you did not see them all the time, man. You didn't. Why? Because it had to feel special. When you see something all the time, can't be special, bro. It's so redundant that it just becomes part of the norm. Hunter Hearst Helmsley relies on them so much, it's just become commonplace. Every other bare minimum segment is going to have a brawl now. Especially if you're just setting up Survivor Series. I don't have time. This is what Helmsley is thinking. I don't have time to get creative or give you a fun story. Got a bunch of dudes or a bunch of ladies. Let's just have them fight every single show. And the reason? So you'll watch a pay-per-view where they're all going to fight again. And I guess I'm supposed to say this is entertaining. This is fun. This is creative. BC, this was a good show, man. Come on, that's harsh. Even you have to admit, BC, this was a good show. Okay, let's recap it. Maybe I was wrong this whole review. Let's recap it, okay? The first half an hour of the show, Roman, Cody, and Punk talked, said nothing, and that was it. Right? I summed it up pretty clear. Nothing happened. Gunther beats Mello. Penta, unfortunately injured. Solo defeats Penta. Rey Mysterio has a match with JD McDudd. Okay. Random matches. The women all went to the middle of the ring and they brawled. Mid-gym got rolled up by Logan Paul and then everybody brawled. That was it, man. Think I'm going to lie to my audience? I say this every single review. Give me a good show, top to bottom, or at least majority, right? Majority good. I'm okay if several segments are bad. We'll take baby steps. I'm still a little stunned that we got a good segment tonight with Dirtiest of Doms and Mini Cena and Little Stu. Oh, now that was good. That's what makes it disappointing to think about, right? Because you're like, hey, if everybody was just having fun like that with the majority of the segments, we could actually be getting good shows. But to book like Helmsley does, to book the way that WWE does, it's easy, and that's why they do it. Takes no effort, takes no care. Guys, that's not a hot take. I'm not just giving you my opinion. I am being as honest as imaginable. I'm not just trying to entertain you with these words. It's legit. That's what's happening. This company right now is literally all about the bottom dollar, every penny and where they can get it from. They don't have the time to give us anything good. They book to the easiest metrics imaginable. And this is easy. Cheap pops, brawls, constant title changes. And repeat the process. And you still hold out hope, kind of, right? It's like every single time Monday Night Raw goes live, it's like I always say, we tune in out of habit and hope. Habit, because we've been doing this since we were kids, a lot of us. Monday night, you knew it was Monday Night Raw. And hope, hoping it one day gets better. So we're thinking, okay, there's supposedly anyway, two big Survivor Series matches. WarGames. It's a go-home show. Maybe there's something epic planned, at least for one of them tonight, right? A wild story arc, story thread throughout the night that none of us saw coming. It's fun, edge of your seat throughout the 2.5 hours. But that's asking too much. So no, you know what we got? Have them all out there and have them brawl. That's your go-home show. That is your review for that go-home show. Thanksgiving's coming up soon here in the States, so I don't know when the next upload will be. There could be one more amped up show before the holiday kicks in, so stay locked on the channel. Always appreciate your guys' support, especially channel members. Earn that black microphone if you're not a channel member yet. If you're about to tap into that 3-year mark, the golden microphone awaits. You'll be joining BC with the gold. Guys, until next time, and there will be that next time. Unit, BC saying check you. Salute.